pretty. Hey, hey, garden gals and guys, it's Steph with Tiny's Garden, and it is, I never know the date. What is the date today? I think it's November 6th here in Zone 5B in the Chicago suburbs, and it is time for me to get my dahlias that have obviously succumbed to frost dug out and stored away for the winter. Now the first thing I have to do today is actually travel 32 minutes because that's the closest Tractor Supply store to me and get some pine shavings because I really want to try using pine shavings this year as a storing medium instead of vermiculite. I haven't had the best luck with vermiculite, so let's change it up. I'm also going to do some things a little differently as far as the way that I store them. I'm not going to divide in the fall this year. I'm going to divide in the spring, which means I'm going to store them in clumps. So when I take the dahlia tuber out, I'm going to keep it in a clump and then brush a decent amount of the dirt off, but not all of the dirt off. That's the other thing. I'm not going to wash these dahlias ahead of time this year, which is different. Again, the past 2 seasons when I've stored them, I've done the digging, I've done the washing, I've done the dividing all in the fall and haven't had great luck with storage. So this year, I'm going to pull them out as clumps, get most of the dirt off them, but not all of the dirt off them, and store them as clumps in a medium with pine shavings. So that's the game plan. Let's go get our pine shavings. And this is probably gonna take course over a couple days because it gets dark here at 4:30 with daylight savings time. So I can't film outside and lift the tubers on camera unless it's much earlier in the day. So one thing at a time here, everybody. One thing at a time. Let's go to TSC. Great news. I just found out the Walmart that is about 20 minutes closer to me both ways driving, so saving 40 minutes round trip, has pine shavings. So I'm going to go there and get them from there so I don't have to drive quite as far. So great news, great news. I will say for your info, TSC has some for 8 cubic feet and Walmart, their bag is smaller at 5 cubic feet. So I do prefer the 8 cubic feet, but I just want to save some time and it saves me a lot of driving and gas. So I'm going to do the Walmart 5 cubic feet, but for your info, TSC does have 8 cubic feet, so a larger bag. Let's go. We are at Walmart and they are pulling through for me today. Pine wood pet bedding, that'll work for storing dahlias for sure. And the 5 cubic foot bag is actually a little bigger than I thought. So I'm gonna get 2 just to have extra, but it's a nice size. Okay, we are back home. The pine shavings are in the garage, but now it's time to dig some dahlias. So let me show you what supplies I'm using. All right, here I've got a pair of gloves I'm gonna use. This is a label tag, so I'll put this around each dahlia and label what it is with a garden marker. A garden marker will not come off, so important. Use this, not a Sharpie. And then 2 different kind of Velcros. Velcro 2s, and then my ARS shears. I think I'm going to use these to cut the big stem off at the top, and then these to cut some of the more little roots that are hair thin at the bottom. And last but not least, a pitchfork, which will help me get down and get those tubers without damaging one of the tubers. A shovel, you're more likely to slice through them, so try and use a pitchfork or something similar if you're able. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna come do is clean up. So I'm gonna use my Velcros and come through and cut off the stem about 5 inches until I get to the actual tuber. So I'll cut right in here, about this length. And you can see that it is hollow in here. So when I actually dig these out, I will keep cutting lower, but for now, this is good just to go through and clean everything up. Now, as I'm cleaning up, I'll be sure to keep the labels in the ground so I still know which tuber is which variety. And also, I'm just gonna do as much as I can today because I will lose light eventually, but whatever we don't finish today, we can finish tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to getting this project done. So let's do our cleanup now. Look at the diameter of these stalks. This is Blizzard, which was my most prolific dahlia this year. And these stalks are ginormous. Oh yeah, lots of water. Now that's an interesting point, that there's so much water in these when I cut them. That means there's water in that stem. And so I really want to make sure this one in particular dries out. So when I come in and dig these up, I'm going to cut that stalk all the way till it's not hollow anymore so that it can dry out and I don't have an increased chance of having my tuber rot or mold, because you don't want to store them that wet. Okay, I'll cut down. Okay, now I'm gonna start digging, and I wanna start by showing you one that is pretty wet. And I'll show you that you can see on the inside of the stem, it's wet, it's a little brown looking. I wanna make sure I get this one out and let it dry a little bit and cut this stalk much further down so that it doesn't rot. But first things first, I've gotta write the name of the tuber, which is Cornell. Okay, all set with the label. Okay, this is the one, and if I move it around, you can see there's water in there. Yeah, see that explosion of water? It has got a lot of moisture in there. Might need my Felcos still. So what I'm gonna do now is get my pitchfork and come and try and gently raise it up. The outside. And raise. And then when I pull it out, oh, good heavens! I have a lot of nice tubers in here. That is what we like to see. I sliced a couple of them, but that's okay. Wow. Let's clean this one up. Okay, so here is my tuber. Looks great, a lot of new growth in there. But I want to clean this up a little bit, take off any damaged tubers that have split in half, cut all these little hair-like things off, and as I said before, cut my stem down that has a lot of water in it. So let's do that first. We're getting there, we're getting there. It's not as hollow as it was. Here we go. So here we can see it's not hollow anymore, there's no holes, and it's not as wet. Then I'm gonna come in and clean up all these little hairs. Now I'm gonna come in and look for any tubers that have broken necks, which means that when I shake them a little bit, but delicately, don't go shaking like crazy. When I shake a little bit, they have a broken neck. So this one here, I'll show you up close. Right here, this one's dangling like crazy. That's definitely a broken neck. So I'll cut that one off. This big one that I scorched here in half, I'm just gonna do a nice dry cut, because if this heals, it'll still be a good tuber. This is where I need my Felcos. That might cure over and be okay. And everything else looks pretty good. They're attached. Oh, there's a shaker right there. This guy here, that's a broken neck. I'm gonna take him out. And this one is cut in half. So that's too damaged. I'm gonna take that one all the way off. Otherwise, we're looking really good here. I just see 2 more little hair thin ones. Get those out of there. All I need is the label, and then this one is ready to store. So this is a close-up look at this clump and the amount of dirt I'm leaving on it. Not a lot and not a little. So the ones that I get done this afternoon, I'm gonna leave out here to cure the rest of the evening, and then I'll pack them away tonight. So I'm gonna do some more, get them out here to dry, and then when I get them out here to dry, and then when I get home, we'll actually put them away into some plastic bins with some of that pine shaving to go in there with them. This one is alamoed, and I'm gonna do a voiceover because the next door neighbors are mowing leaves. Look at the size of this guy. It is absolutely tuberific. Again, this is called alamoed, one of my favorites of the year.
Flying low under the radar.
So I'm gonna leave those out to dry. This is what I think I can get through today, and then I'll keep working on it the rest of the week. But that's gonna be my process this year. Storing them in clumps with some dirt on them in a plastic container with some pine chips. Pine chips? Pine wood shavings. Pine wood shavings. So we'll see you back here in a few hours when I show you how I'm going to store these 2. Okay, it's a few days later and I'm actually in the garage, so it's a little dark. But I've got my tubers here with the labels on them, and they've been sitting out for a couple days. I would probably just do 1 day, but they look really good. So I'm gonna take a plastic tub that I just got at Target and then put pine shavings in the bottom and start layering the Dahlia tubers on top. So I've got about 3 inches of pine shavings, and then I'm gonna take my tuber right here and just set each of them in here, making sure the tag stays on the one that I want labeled. And then I'm going to put more pine shavings on top. Okay, so I've only got 3 because it's wet today, so I'm not digging any more right now, but I want to get these tucked away. So now AJ is going to add some more pine shavings to this. And we're going to cover them with another batch of these pine shavings. Just make sure they're all covered. Put the lid on. And keep it shut. Last thing is I'm just going to label it Dahlia tubers with some painter's tape and some garden marker so I know what is exactly in this bin in case I forget. Then I'm gonna tuck it away in my garage because it's about 55 degrees in here, which is what I want when it gets really cold here in Zone 5B. I'll move them to a different spot in our house that's like a storage room. Voila! All right, that's it. That is how I am digging and storing my Dahlia tubers differently this year, so fingers crossed I have better results. Please comment below and let me know how you're storing your Dahlia tubers. And also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to follow along with all things garden. We'll see you in the next one, everybody. Happy planting. Bye.